Perfect.
What's up, guys? So I hope you're having a good one today. We are doing lesson 2.4, which is dealing with something called fractional distance. So we're going to be looking at a number line, and we're going to be able to find the fractional distance between 2 points. Okay, so let's jump into that. So the key points that we're going to look at today is the actual formula that you're going to be using to find fractional distance. So it says use the fractional distance formula to find the fractional location on a number line. So right here, if you look, we're going to end up, x1 is going to be known as your starting point. So right here, if we go ahead and write this, let me get my pencil here. So x1 is going to be known as your starting point, so your beginning point. So that's going to be very key that you pay attention to that. So you'll actually end up putting that here as well. And then this is going to end up, x2 is going to be your second, your end point is going to be what that is, okay? And then k here is actually going to be the fraction. Whatever fractional distance that you're going, that's where the fraction is going to be inputted, okay? So we're going to be using this formula on each one of these examples so I can show you the fractional distance from one point to the next. Let's jump over to example number 1. All right, so look at example number 1. It says where 3/4 the distance from point D to point A. So where is 3/4 the distance from point D to point A? So we're going from D to A here. So that means D, this is what your x1 is going to be. That's your starting point. And A is going to be your end point, so x2 in the formula, okay? And so now whenever we look here, we're doing where is 3/4 the distance, that is actually going to be your k. So that's where we're going to plug it into my formula. So I know the distance here is going to be x1 plus k times x2 minus x1 here. So literally all I have to do is plug in that info. So x1 is d, which is 1, plus k, which is going to be 3/4, and then x2, which is going to be 9, minus x1, which is going to be 1. And now I just literally have to solve to find the fractional distance of that. So 9 minus 1 is going to end up giving me 8. Okay, 3/4 of 8 is going to end up giving me 6. And then 1 plus 6 is going to end up giving me 7. So that means literally up here, 3/4 the distance from point D to A is going to be 7. So right here, this point right here is going to end up being 7. Because if I end up breaking up, the distance is 8. If I end up breaking that into 4s, 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I'm going 3 of those. So 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces over. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, 7 would end up being your answer, which is the 3/4 the distance from D to A by using the formula. Okay? We'll show over example number 2. All right, so on example number 2, it says there is a duck and a fish on a number line. What is the location that is 1/3 the distance from the duck to the fish? So this is key. The duck is going to be your starting point. So this is going to be my x1, and the fish is going to be your end point. So this is going to be my x2. And then my fractional distance is going to be my k. So 1/3 is going to be my k. So literally I just have to plug this into my formula and then solve for it to find where that point is actually going to lie. So I know my formula is x1 plus k, and then I'm multiplying that x2 minus x1 here, and I'm just going to plug that info in. So my x1 is going to be 8, that's my starting point. My fraction is going to be 1/3. x2 is going to be -4, and then I'm subtracting my x1, which is 8. So literally I just have to solve here. So -4 minus 8 is going to be -12. 1/3 of -12 is actually going to give me -4. 8 plus -4 is actually going to be 4. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the spot that's going to be 1/3 the distance from the duck to the fish. Because if we actually look here, if I know the distance from 8 to -4 is going to be 12 spaces. So if I actually did divide that by 3, 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4. So I'm going to go 4 spaces from the duck. So I'm going to go 4 spaces over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which would actually put me at +4. Okay? So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you use the formula to solve for fractional distance. Let's go to example number 3. All right, so on example number 3 here, it says Carla and Danielle are best friends. They live across the pasture from each other. Carla's house is 600 yards from Danielle's house. If their favorite hangout spot is 1/4 of the way from Carla's house to Danielle's house, where is their hangout spot at? So literally it's just asking 1/4 the distance from Carla's house to Danielle. Well, I know that Carla's house, we don't necessarily have points here, but I can still find the fractional distance. So I know that from Carla's house to Danielle's house, it's 600 yards. Go ahead and drop that in there. It's 600 yards. And then I need to find what 1/4 of that is going to be. So I just need to multiply by 1/4 or divide by 4, however you want to look at it. 1/4 of 600 is actually going to end up giving you 150 yards from Carla's house. So if I were to give you a visual, if I was going from Carla's house to Danielle's house, you would go 150 yards from Carla's house to get the location between those two, okay? So the distance between those is going to be 150 yards. That's where that's going to be, okay? All right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom right of your notes here, you actually have your challenge question. So if you go and do this challenge question and you can do it without any help or you have any problems, that means you're ready to move on to your skill check. If you're having trouble with this challenge, call me over. I can help you out with your challenge question or maybe show you a couple more examples to make you feel comfortable to move on to your skill check, because that's what this is for. So move on to your skill check when you're ready. Holler at me.